In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the remote resolving capabilities that are in Canvas and why that's important to penetration testers. So, to help me illustrate this point, I've got two virtual machines, a Linux machine running a vulnerable version of Samba, as well as a virtual machine running Canvas. So, in order to exploit the host, I take a few very simple steps. I add the IP, and I go and find the remote exploit. Once I found the exploit that I want, I simply select the version that I want and say OK. So while this exploit is working, I'd like to talk a little bit about what remote resolving is and why it's important. So remote resolving allows us to dynamically determine where certain functions live on the remote host's memory. What this means is they don't have to always be in a predictable spot. So this allows a lot of flexibility with Canvas post-exploitation modules because I can write one module and be confident that it's going to work across multiple versions of that operating system family. So for example, I can have our Linux PCAP sniffer work on Fedora, on Ubuntu, on Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and other flavors. So now that I've got my shell, I can see that I've got a Unix shell node. This is a generic payload for most Unix-like operating systems for exploits that are in Canvas. Now, what I need to do in order to enable remote resolving is convert this into a Linux node. So to do that, I'm going to upload a Linux Trojan that I've already constructed. Okay. Now I'm going to make that particular executable executable. All right. And now what I need to do is start a listener because I'm expecting a callback on a specific port from this Trojan. And now I just run the Trojan with a few arguments. And I can see my new shell is getting ready to start. Now, what needs to happen is once my shell starts, I'm going to have to go and select the module that I want to run, in this case the PCAP sniffer. So let's go ahead. So there's my new shell. And now I'll select Commands, scroll down to PCAP sniffer. Now I'm going to leave the interface and the filter at their default values. If you wanted to filter for specific traffic, you could do that here. Standard TCP dump parameters. But I am going to enable the real-time display. So while we're finding where all these functions live in memory, I'm going to start up a quick little something here on the remote host. Now I've got a netcat listener listening, and all I'm going to do is generate traffic. One of the things that Canvas does when it starts the remote sniffer is it includes an automatic rule to ignore some of the command and control traffic that passes between Canvas and the remote node. So because this is a host-only network, I need to generate a little bit of traffic. So I've got a listener here from netcat, which I'll restart. And now I'll just kick this off. And I can see now Wireshark is looking and recording the traffic. Now this is actually pretty cool because this is the traffic from the remote node and it's appearing in the Wireshark on my Canvas box. So this is very neat, a very powerful technique for penetration testers because now you can turn remote nodes that you've compromised into listening posts and gather more intelligence to increase your attack surface on the internal network. If you have any questions about remote resolving or some of the capabilities of Canvas, please feel free to contact any of us at the booth.